You've endured the loss of your mother, your brothers, and now recently a divorce. What part of your identity had to die with those losses? And what was reborn in their place? Welcome. Today I have the pleasure of talking to one of my greatest friends, greatest family members, somebody who's been connected to me for the last 12 years, and somebody who has truthfully, in my opinion, displayed what the pearl-minded mindset, the pearl-minded lifestyle, the pearl-minded state of being is all about. I am very excited to ask this person some of these questions, and these are really deep questions. And we're gonna get a chance to really look into the mind of somebody who's been through not one, not two, but 2 handfuls and 2 footfuls of very treacherous adversity, and adversities that have come very recently that he still continued to push through and improve through. I would like you guys to really embrace this conversation, really embody some of the things that he's gone through and made it out of. And with that being said, I introduce you guys to Cory Cline, my man.
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here.
Always.
Okay, you looking good. I see you been in the gym.
I've been in the gym, man. I don't know with who, but I've been there.
I know you've been in the gym because we've been in the gym together.
Yeah, we've been together.
You looking good.
Thank you, man.
I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Now, one question that I love to start this out with is, how are you doing today emotionally?
I'm great.
Great?
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm great.
I love that.
Mentally,
I love
physically, I'm great.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Another question, follow up. How do you think, because you know the Lord and you've had a great experience being able to go to church and really be embedded in the church and really give yourself to God.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, according to what you know about God, how is God doing today?
Man, he's blessed. God is the most amazing person on earth.
I love it.
That's why we're breathing, you know?
And my follow-up question to that is, how much space do you believe is in between how you're doing and how God is doing emotionally?
Oh, damn.
Yeah. How much space? And that's not a numerical question or anything like that, but do you believe that there is space emotionally in between how you are doing today and how God is doing all the time?
Oh, man. Always. I mean, that's a tough question. Well, how's God doing how I'm doing?
So not necessarily how is God doing how you're doing, but according to how God is doing today emotionally.
Yeah.
And according to how you are doing today emotionally, do you feel like there is space in between
yeah.
how well you're doing and how well he's doing?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
There's always going to be space, you know?
How-
I think when people think that they're like close to God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard question, but I would never be emotionally, even close to what God is.
Okay.
I mean, that's a person that I don't think anybody would. If you ask somebody and they said, "Yeah, I'm just like God,"
Yeah.
man, they'd be tripping.
So not even necessarily like God though, but like
Or
from
emotionally.
yeah, like you're doing so well, and not like, oh, I have all the
No.
money in the world or anything like that, but
No.
you know.
No.
Okay. Because I like that answer, and I'm actually curious when it comes to God having to carry these burdens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe anything is heavy for God to carry?
I don't think so. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, I mean, he's probably seen it all, you know. So at the end of the day, it's like he's probably used to it, but it probably hurts him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People commit suicide every single day. God has to carry that, you know. I think when people do that, they're not looking at about anybody else besides themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
And God has to deal with that.
God has to deal with it, and also the people surrounded by them, like the close family members. You know, they got to deal with, you know, that emotions when somebody does that. And it happens every single day.
Yeah.
You know, there's drug addicts all over the freaking place. You know, God has to carry that on them. You know, so at the end of the day, I don't think anybody in this world would want to be God. Because only the strong survive, and the strongest man alive is God. So at the end of the day, you know, I don't want that on me.
Yeah. Facts. Facts.
And I don't think that many people would be like, oh, I could be a great God. No, there's only one God. The most powerful man on earth.
And I will say this, especially for the audience, because I love how you answered that question. And the way you answered that question brought up, for me, as a coach, something on me?
Yeah, man, you got like...
What is it, man?
It was like
What
a
is it,
spider
man?
web
Spider web,
that
man?
was already growing.
Okay.
It was crazy.
The spider web was growing.
No, it was growing quick.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
I had to get that off of you.
Let me bring this up, though, because the way you actually answer that question is really fascinating, because my initial intention is not ever to necessarily be God or take the weight that God has to bear, but more or less understanding that Jesus did not find it faultful or wrong to see him and God connected to the point where he doesn't necessarily have to carry the same burdens that God has to carry, but he does get to release the worry and the stress and the anxiety if he had to live without God. You know what I mean? And so I don't think as a human, nobody ever wants to be God or even emulate God. But I do believe, based off of God being able to be inside of us and being all-knowing, all-powerful, no limitations, I honestly feel like even in the face of the deepest adversities, God already sees through it. And so even though it's hard to carry, especially for a human, it's hard to carry an experience, I believe God already knows it's going to be okay. And so there's a certain awareness where if you know God is okay, even in the midst of a storm, the same way Jesus was in the storm and actually sleeping on a pillow in the boat when the storm was, okay, cool. That level of calm emotionally, even when these storms come, is what I want us to be able to get to. Not to be God ever.
No.
Never. But to be able to trust God so much to where, you know what, God is doing better than me today, most likely. And so I'm going to level my awareness into him instead of into myself. Now, that's going to lead us into one of our first immediate deep questions. Now, that's kind of our prelude questions, okay? And that kind of sets the tone. That gets us to be able to be aware of who you are, where your state of being is today. And so now I have a real question for you, okay? We have about 8 to 10 questions here. If we get to them all, we get to them. But I have a real question here. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Like I said before this all started, Cory has seen immense adversity and has seen a lot of trauma. So this first question goes like this. You've endured the loss of your mother, your brothers, and now recently a divorce. What part of your identity had to die with those losses? And what was reborn in their place?
I think anything with all the death is let the past be the past and become a better person. So like when my brother died, you know, I had my son was 6 months old. So at the end of the day, it's like I had to be a father, and I was young. So you know, I was 21 years old. So at the end of the day, I had to be a dad. I had to focus and grow up and be a father. Same thing with my mom. My mom died. You know, my daughter was, I think, 10 days old.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was rough. Don't get me wrong, but like, it made me stronger. It made me, you know, obviously there's dark times in that. But being a father was always like the one thing where, you know, I always want to be great at. For me, it's just trying to be the best dad I was. And, you know, during that time, you know, my dad was going through it. So like I try to help him, you know, through that death. Yeah. So, but it definitely made me strong. It made me grow up. I had to grow up quick. And I couldn't take death as a tool to, you know, get to do stupid shit. Yeah. You know, a lot of people do that. A lot of people get into drugs. A lot of people do that. For me, it's like, how do I be a dad? Like, I got to be, number one, I didn't even know I'd be a husband at this time because I just got married. And I got to be a father. So it was really, you know, that's was my main focus on all that.
What part of your identity had to die with those losses? And I believe that first question or that first initial answer was amazing because it seems like what had to die was the immature version of yourself. And what had to come up was the father and the husband version. That's intense. Okay. And then the second part of that question was, and what was reborn in their place? And you kind of answered that with like fatherhood, husband, you know, and just being a leader, something that you didn't necessarily expect to do at that time, but you were forced into it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it was not like reborn, because it's like I was forced into, obviously, you know, how babies happen.
Yeah.
You know, I did the crime, so I got to do the time.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I had to like grow up. I had to, you know, a lot of people have kids at a little bit older age. I was blessed enough to have them at a young age, and now they're amazing kids.
Yeah.
Reborn
in their place.
You know, that's a difficult one. Mentally, physically, I'm the best I've ever been. You know, it's like the one thing I'm missing is getting that more time with my children.
I love that, and I appreciate that answer. I think you actually said a couple things in there that before I get to another question, I want to comment on. One thing that you mentioned, right, was your current happiness level.
Yeah.
Even though you have gone through death, trauma, the loss, and a lot of changes, you know, where like you had a dog, 2 cats, you know, over $500,000 home. Like, there's a lot of things that a lot of people cling to so hard because they believe that their identity and value is rooted in those things. And when you get uprooted from the thing that made you look a certain way, you know, 15-year successful marriage, right? And I say only that because obviously we got divorced, but 15-year marriage, 4 children, homes, vacations, and things like that. Obviously, from the outside world, you know, a lot of people will try to deem you as a failure, right? But today, you are happier, more financially successful, more physically and mentally successful than you've ever been at 37 years old in your entire life. On the other side of this traumatic events, you have found yourself in a better physical, mental, and spiritual state. And you would say, what contributed to, even though you've been through these things, and there's going to be other people that go through similar or not even as bad as you, but still take it really hard. What advice would you give them based off of what you just simply experienced and has you in your current state of being?
Find outlets. You know what I mean? Find people out there. And there's people out there. It doesn't matter. You can have a lot of friends. And I think from my experience, I grounded myself on people who I know that can get me out of this rut that I was in. You know, a lot of people go to their buddies that probably shouldn't be kicking it with. You know what I mean? Probably not a good idea. You get in yourself some trouble. But ground yourself, man. Find yourself a person or people who you can talk to. If that's a family member, if that is a great friend, just ask them if they want to play basketball. Ask them if they want to do anything, any activity. Go play pool. You can play pool and you don't need a drink. We do that all the time.
All the time.
We can drink sodas, and play some pool.
And buzz down, I beat you.
Sometimes. You know. But I think that's the main thing. It's like kind of, once you go through that type of stuff, I'm going to say, I'm not cussing.
I appreciate the language.
You figure out who your real family is, your real people are. And the rest of those people, you got to leave them in the dust. It's, at the end of the day, find who your people are and keep your circle really, really small and tight.
Let me ask you a follow-up question with that same thing, because the question was, what advice would you give, right? And then, so you said keep that circle tight and everything, right? What should you do on your alone time? What should you do on your alone time to get, because nobody's going to be perfect, right?
No.
And there's going to be times where you're alone and you can't be with that tight circle and things like that, and you have to sit with yourself, right? What is maybe one piece of advice, one level of a nudge of, hey, maybe try this, that you would suggest somebody do when they're on their alone time going through trauma?
Take walks.
Oh, I like that.
Take walks.
Join the Pearl Minded Sunday Walk, by the way.
Take walks. Think. When you're by yourself, man, that's a good time to reflect on the past and about how to become a better person. You know, I've never been by myself. So this is new, you know, and sometimes it gets very lonely. You know, it does. But it's also very peaceful. Walks, read, pray. There's a lot of things you can do by yourself that doesn't involve going to a bar and drinking.
I like that.
There's a lot of things. And that's things to reflect about the past, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And how do you become stronger and better? You know, go to the gym. There's so much stuff you can do. You know, listen to music.
Yeah.
Sometimes, man, I just listen to music.
Yeah.
Dance in the mirror. Naked.
Okay.
Feel yourself.
Let
you
them
know?
know. Let
Flex.
them know.
Flex. I mean, there's so much
Let 'em
stuff.
know.
You know, there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, man, my showers be like 45 minutes.
I feel that.
I shave. I look in the mirror. I feel like when you look good, you feel good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's
Yes.
why it's so important to not even just like the gym transforms you, not just your body, but your mind and your spirit and everything. Like it just makes you just feel like a beast.
Yeah.
Like I'm damn.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that.
It's amazing.
I love that.
Did I answer the question?
No, perfectly. No, I appreciate that too. That was beautiful.
All right.
You ready for the next question?
Yeah, I'm always ready.
You want a sip of water real quick?
No, I'm good.
Cool. I want a little
The
sip
sun
of
is
water.
burning a little bit, you know?
The sun is.
sun is
Look,
shining.
we just wanted to make sure we had the best lighting, you know, for this situation. So we're gonna get a little sip of water. You know, beautiful. Cause I got another powerful one for you. Okay. Question is this. Okay. With 4 kids depending on your leadership, what have you discovered about fatherhood, faith, and being a builder even when your world is falling apart? What have you learned about fatherhood, faith, and being a builder even when your world is crumbling and falling apart?
You talk about after the divorce or just in general?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Man,
Or it could be after or general, yeah.
I think for me, it's like I learned that I could do it by myself. So I think like I could do it. It's actually it's easier being a single father than it is being a married father.
Okay.
That being said, it's because you set your own rules. And you don't get in trouble for setting your own rules. Listen, I mean, if you're married, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm
but
not.
like,
Yeah, I'm
you
not.
know,
Married.
I don't. Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's
Right.
like there's a lot of times where you're like, no, I don't like that, and then it's now you're fighting with somebody else. So now you're fighting not just your kids, but you're fighting all the kids, and then the spouse.
Interesting.
You know.
Okay.
So for me, it's way easier. My kids listen to me.
Yeah.
They follow my basic rules. I did a bad job, and I'm gonna admit, for the first like month or two, in all of it. My divorce, and I was heartbroken. You know what I mean? Like when you get played for 3 months, you know, going on trips together and doing that, and then all of a sudden it's just like, nope, I'm leaving. Fuck you. Like it's hard. It hurts a wee bit. You know what I mean? I wish I just knew 3 months prior to that, saying, hey, I don't want to be with you, but it's complicated. You know the story,
Right.
which is just kind of crazy. But I did a bad job. I did a bad job of in the beginning, like communicating with my kids. Like, hey, how are you guys doing in this? It's not just me that I'm losing everything. You guys are too. You're
Right.
losing your house. You know, you're going to be living in 2 separate houses. And it got me more to communicate a lot more. And that's going through therapy too. And I go through therapy to try to be a better father, communicating with my children. And that has helped tremendously, but I didn't do a good job. I was honestly, I was so pissed off and I was so me that I didn't think about my children at that like for a short period of time.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, you know what? I need to figure out how my kids are really doing.
Yeah.
It's hard. They don't really, you know, I guess communicate. They don't want to, you know, tell you their feelings.
Yeah.
If anybody says that they do, then it's just a lie.
Right.
You know, let's be real here, you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
But I think church really got, my son was, Ryan, dude, he just loves church. It's always about church. Danica, or Melanie, she has her great friends. Danica does therapy. And then, you know, Mav's just a crazy man. So, you know, he likes it. It's like a vacation when he goes back and forth, you know. I used to never cook. I never had to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So You know, I barbecue.
Yeah. No, yeah,
I'm trying to learn how to, you know, do those type of things. So it's like I'm learning, you know, as I go, and it's like it's cool though. It's like I'm learning new skills that I never thought I would never need, and that's kind of like a great blessing. Like you can do whatever you want. You just gotta freaking just put your mind to it. So that's what I've learned, man, and it's real cool. Like I really do actually like really enjoy it. Like I get to wake up every day and see the water. Like I'm a very blessed man. You know, I've been through a lot, but at the end of the day, it's like it only makes me stronger. So I don't think I've gone through it all. So at the end of the day, what else is gonna happen? You know what I mean? Not knock on wood, but yeah, I just don't. I don't know what anything's thrown at me, man. I'm just kind of batted away.
I will say, even, you know, being one of your close friends and being younger than you, you've gone through things that I've yet even thought about going through, you know, and like because I am in deep connection with you, and I've witnessed you go through things from death of family members to successful to divorce relationship, multiple kids. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And from that position, to be able to be in contact with a man that went into the fire multiple times and made it out and is here,
Yeah.
healthy,
Yeah.
wealthy, wise. And
Yeah.
we're not always talking financial. It's
Yeah.
healthy, wealthy, and wise. After all that, I just want to say I see you and I appreciate you for moving on. And for me to create the Pearl Minded, I have people like you in mind when I think about the concept of what it means to be Pearl Minded.
Yeah.
The concept of turning in adversity into a treasure. Like, you didn't have these tattoos, but actually these are great tattoos.
Yeah.
And they come out of, like, the inspiration was, hey, I went through adversity, I dedicated my life and found peace, and this is just my art form. That's it. So all the naysayers or any other opinion is just, you know, those opinions. So you let me know when you're ready for the next question, King.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Man, I'll say this, okay? So in the Pearl Minded community and in the Pearl Minded framework, we talk about becoming a magnetized version of yourself. This is a new concept that we talk about. Being a magnetized version of yourself. And what that looks like is you being so at peace that you are able to be authentically yourself and attract exactly what is for you. Okay? That's our statement. Okay, cool. So the question, okay, is going to come like this. What are you attracting now that you never believed was possible before?
There's a lot of things you don't think is possible. Like, I mean, everybody who goes to the gym, you know, when they pick up a weight, they're like, I don't think I could do this. But at the end of the day, if you don't try, how do you know you can't? So at the end of the day, I think anything is possible.
I got a crazy question for you.
Okay.
Because this is gonna move us into something better. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, question is this. Can you please share a moment with me where you had to choose love over fear, even though both were present, but you had to choose love over fear when it felt impossible to do so?
Love over fear.
You know, because can I give you just one that I witnessed, and then you can, if you wanted to say another one, you can. Okay, so for this, I don't mean to answer it for you, but I have something in my mind. And so when your ex-wife not only requested the separation, and she got a new place, even though I know fear was present to actually allow her to be in that place, you still moved things from your home into her new home so she was comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that shook me when I witnessed it. It shook me because I'm like, because of the pain, because of the agony, how does he have the strength to choose to make sure this person who is leaving him and hurting his heart and taking his family away, how does he still have the strength to make sure whatever is in this home that would make you more comfortable, I will move it over there for you.
Yeah.
That was huge to me.
Yeah.
And so in my opinion, that was a moment where you chose love over fear. And the fear was, is this person really going to leave me forever?
Yeah.
That's the fear, but you still chose, but I still want them to be good in this moment.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, I gave her everything.
You did.
I mean, and I took it down and brought it to her. A lot of people would have been, you know, but that's I'm a different breed of a human, man. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like, my kids are going to be over there, and I want them to feel comfortable. It's going to be new to them. You know, I don't want to take everything from her. You know, we built this life together, you know. Didn't think, you know, she would turn and be evil. And at the end of the day, at least I know, you know, what I did, I felt was right. And I still do believe it was right, you know, because things like bedrooms and cars and whatever, you know, dishes, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't make me happy, you know. If it makes her happy, cool, you know. But, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty dang good one. Because I don't, I mean, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I think when it comes to my divorce, I did everything to try to keep it alive. Yeah. I mean, I failed. But at the end of the day, it's, I think, the best for everybody. Yeah. You know, my kids, her, me. And, you know, I wish the best for her. Yeah. So, but she can have it all, you know. Yeah. She can have it all besides my children.
100%.
And, you know, that's why we do what we doing. Because my kids mean everything to me. Like I said, they're the only people that will never, and God, are the only two people that really can't betray you. Yeah. You know, they can disappoint you. Yeah. You know, even God can disappoint you at times. I think a lot of people are like, why me? Why me? And stop thinking why. Think about, actually think about the why. Think about the why and be like, why is he doing this? Is he putting me on a different level to maybe he's doing this because he knows, number one, I can get through it.
So let me ask you this, okay? We got 2 questions left. Yep. Okay. Question number 1 is, I brought the Pearl-Minded to life a little bit ago. And I want to know not only how much do you feel the essence of the Pearl-Minded, which is rooted in adversities and the treasures, and aligning yourself with the best version of yourself. How much do you feel like, even before I brought it to life, clearly it was something I lived, how much do you feel like it's been able to brush off on you and help you during that time period as well?
I mean, I think the brand has been made 4 years ago when we first started working out.
I love it.
It's just a different name.
Yeah.
But like, we've been doing this for 4 years and it's been the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Spiritual, mental, you know, it's just a brand name. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we've been doing this since we started working out. Yeah. And it's helped me, you know what I mean? It's made me like want to read. It made me want to like be more knowledgeable about a lot of different things. But I think we've been, like I said, I mean, we've been rocking with that same mentality for 4 years. You know, it's just, now you're bringing, you know, the community along, which is great. And I think it's a great blessing, you know, and I think it's going to skyrocket it, because the way that you think, the way your mentality is, it's like anything that you put your mind to, it's like you're going to succeed at. Yeah. And so, but no, man, this brand's been everything. I mean, they've leveled me up to who I am today.
Yeah, I love it.
Now you just, you know, showcasing your abilities and showing the world, which you should. You should have done it 4 years ago, you know?
I appreciate it.
But
that's love.
Yeah.
And we got one more question.
Yeah.
Okay. The last question, okay. The last question is, if there was one thing, just one, whether it's an activity or a behavior or a belief system or an identity trait, I know that's a wide spectrum, but if there was just one, you know, spiritual or mental idea that you can grow in, what would that one thing be? Whether it was faith or trust, whatever it is, self-confidence, discipline, consistency, you know, what is that one thing that if you had more of it, it would even create less roadblocks? Trust.
Yeah.
Especially when it's broken, right?
Yeah. It's hard though, man. It's hard. You've been through what I've been through, man. Yeah. Like, and not even just like divorce, you know. At the end of the day, it's like when my brother died, you know, my mom said she was on her rockers or
You good.
whatever else, but you know, she's like, you should have been the one who died. You're gonna be the worst father, the worst husband. And so, you know, for me, it's like when your mother says that, it's like there's two people in this world that stabbed me, and my mom and my ex-wife.
It's crazy.
And those are the people who I trusted more than anybody in my life.
It's crazy.
And so, you know, and that's the thing is like, when I was going through the divorce, I was like, nah, I can't, man. I was like, that's what my mom said 15 years ago. Hell no, man. This is some bullshit. Like, no, I'm gonna fight to the end for my marriage, and I feel like I did. And
I have to pause. Now, I hate pausing people, but I gotta call this out. I think one of the main reasons why you've not only fought so hard, right? Because it's not about the fight, but one of the main reasons why you truthfully clinged to something for a while that actually probably proved to be more damaging to you than better for you, but you still cling to it, was not because of the marriage, but it was a deeper reason of the belief system that somebody who mattered to you before this marriage happened, somebody who truthfully mattered to you, implanted a seed of an idea that says you're not gonna win.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be the proof that you're not gonna win.
Yeah.
And because you had that in you, that belief, that idea, that comment, you try to cling to something that was no longer serving you longer than you needed to.
No, I 100% agree. Because I think that always, like, I will take what my mom said. Like, I mean, that's something like I will always like remember. You know what I mean? And so that right there was like, hell no, like, you're not gonna tell me what I'm gonna fucking be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be the best father, the best husband.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I was weird, but like, she was like my mom in a way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I
yeah.
lost my mom, but like, here I got her. You know, she could be like mom, which is not fair to her.
Right.
And you know, I mean, there's a lot of things, you know, I wish I could take back, but at the end of the day, I can't. And so, did I love her? Of course. Was I scared to lose her? Of course. I've lost a lot in my life. You know, there's one thing I didn't ever, you know, wanted to lose. But at the end of the day, I did lose it. My mom wasn't right though. You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, for me, it's like back in my mind, I'm like, damn, fuck.
She was
like,
right.
damn, man,
Yeah.
she fucking really said that shit.
Yeah.
And now it's happening.
Yeah.
Damn. But it is what it is, man. Yeah.
I think, you know, as we're closing this down, I think I want to offer the audience, you know, the people that will stay up until this point, right? I want you to really recognize what we just kind of went through, which was realizing that sometimes we cling to objects in life and circumstances in life, not because we actually authentically believe it's the best thing for us, but because we have preconditioned beliefs that we're fighting against. And one of Cory's was his mom told him that this was when his brother died. So this is like when marriage is fresh or even before, that his mom told him that he was the one that was supposed to actually pass away and lose his life. And he's going to be a horrible father. And so 15 years later, you have to understand that the decisions that he was making and the state of mind that he was in was not actually according to the reality that he was in that moment. It was from a 16, 18 year ago reality. And realizing that you might not be fighting the current battle. You might not, because what's in front of you is actually not that difficult. It's what's been behind you that has built up a larger energy field that is more powerful that you're trying to fight against. You know, I got a brother who we lost our father a long time ago, and I'm sure he's fighting to make sure he's the greatest father he can be. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have to prove that against anybody. He doesn't have to prove that against what our dad did to us. He gets to be who he is. Cory got to be who he is today, and he is the greatest father, the greatest man, the greatest friend, one of the most generous people, non-materialistic people out there. And that's a rare trait. And everything that he is in essence and everything that he is in character goes against any negative belief that was tried to put into his mind without his control. So all I want to say is I appreciate the man that you become. I appreciate the man that you're becoming.
Yep.
And I appreciate your friendship, your brotherhood, your family. And, you know, Cory's embraced me before I knew I was embraced. You know, Cory embraced me 12 years ago and made me family when I didn't even know we was there yet. But he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself yet, and now we get to grow into it. And so he saw something in me that I'm still trying to live up to. But it already exists. My steps are already ordered, and he saw it 12 years ago. So we're here today connecting, and we've been together for a long time. So I appreciate you so much.
Always,
I
man.
appreciate you, and you keep fighting.
Always.
My dog, thank you. Ooh, that was fire! That was fire. That was a good one.